Call this meeting to order. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next is invocation by First Lutheran. All right, start with the roll call. Yes.
Savers. Here. Goldammer.
Here.
Dosher. Here. McCardle. Here. Barrington. Here. Bathke. Here. Charks. Here. Smith.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. Approval of consent agenda items. Items appearing on the consent agenda may be removed by a city council member for discussion at the beginning of formal agenda items. Would anyone like to remove anything? Move to approve. Motion by Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All right.
Yes, otherwise I have it with me so I can go over it verbally too if we need be. Yeah.
Here is what the Mitchell Chamber of Commerce, Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Area Development Corporation were up to for the third quarter of 2025. Starting with the Mitchell Area Chamber of Commerce. We had a busy quarter, welcoming 9 new members and hosting 9 ribbon cuttings for businesses that have relocated to Mitchell, are expanding, or celebrated a milestone. Looking at government affairs, we held our first Leadership Mitchell session on September 18th with an orientation and program overview, also attending the Workforce Summit. And Connect Mitchell, we hosted 2 First Friday coffees at 401 Create and one at Dakota Physical Therapy, and a lunch and learn with CASA. And for the Mitchell Convention and Visitors Bureau, our Amperage peak season tourism marketing has wrapped up, going March through July. Impressions were just over 2 million. We had 17,000 clicks, 1,323 conversions, and 0.86% click-through rates, which were above bench average. We also refreshed photo assets of the Corn Palace Rodeo and the Palace City Pre-Sturgis Party and the Corn Palace Festival that will be used in next year's marketing. Along with those photos, we also refreshed video assets of the Palace City Pre-Sturgis Party and the Corn Palace Festival. For the year so far, hotel occupancy is up 5.2% compared to 2024, as well as entertainment tax up 11.52% compared to 2024. Looking at tourism events, the Corn Palace Stampede Rodeo was held in July, and we participated in the rodeo pullover. We had a float in the rodeo parade, and we did digital promotion on social media and the newsletter. For the Palace City Pre-Sturgis Party in July, we did digital promotion as well on social media and in our newsletter, as well as radio, TV, and print advertisements. For the Corn Palace Festival, we did digital promotion on social media and the newsletter, as well as some print marketing. Looking at our local marketing efforts, we had our last advertisement for 605 magazine in August, which featured the Corn Palace Festival. We continue to have our Motor magazine advertisements. The last one featured hunting. We did a television advertisement with Midco for the Pre-Sturgis Party, and we did advertisements on both KMIT and KORN for the Pre-Sturgis Party. And now the Mitchell Area Development Corporation. The Young Professionals Group continues to meet, hosting trivia in every month. In July, it was USA, August was Superhero, and September was Trivia in the Park. Workforce events are continued to being held. On July, there was a walk-in job fair. In August, there was a virtual job fair. In September, there was a drive-through job fair. This quarter, the Development Corporation also hosted their fourth Workforce Summit at Mitchell Technical College. The Development Corporation also transferred 4 more lots to Mitchell Technical College in the Ridgeview on Foster housing development. They also received 4 governor's houses from the Housing Authority. 2 were placed in Ridgeview on Foster and 2 in Southlake. This quarter, there were also multiple housing rehab projects that were approved through South Dakota Housing. This program provides grant funds in the form of forgivable loans to maintain and improve existing housing stock. The Community Concierge Program continues to welcome new residents to Mitchell through VIP tours, relocation packages, and networking events that foster connection and belonging. The Newcomers Group has grown to over 160 participants with recent events like a Lake Mitchell Day Camp and an appetizer and drink pairing at Bradley's Pub and Grill, highlighting local amenities and businesses. The Move to Mitchell program continues to succeed, offering newcomers a $100 welcome package with Palace Park coupons for local discounts. This initiative helps residents discover local businesses while giving those businesses new customers and positive exposure. The MADC, also in partnership with Northwestern Energy, co-hosted a statewide energy summit at MTC Mitchell Technical College to explore how energy infrastructure and demand will shape South Dakota's growth. Congressman Dusty Johnson urged attendees to take a visionary approach to future projects. And lastly, the MADC joined the ribbon cutting for High Plains Processing, a $500 million soybean facility south of Mitchell, the largest value-added agricultural project in South Dakota history. And lastly, Dakota Heartland Development Association. Looking at business development in Corsica and Parkston, Basin Woodworking's new 7,000 square foot building is nearly completed in Corsica's new 24-hour business park. It's the first and anchor to the potential growth Corsica is poised to support. Kaler Agri-Services continues its impressive growth with the opening of a new soybean roasting facility in Parkston's new 40-acre ag business park. And looking at housing in Corsica Parkston, an open house was held on the nearly 1,100 square foot single family spec homes in Corsica's Southeast Housing Subdivision. Construction will start this month for a new 12-unit, 2-bed, 1-bath apartment complex. Additional housing is also being developed in Parkston for 2026. And advocacy in the region. The Dakota Heartland planned, implemented, and coordinated a governor's visit to celebrate a formal ribbon cutting of the new business park and business visits in Corsica in late July. They also met with representatives of the Build Dakota Scholarship Fund program on their efforts to expand usage of this program in smaller communities and more business seeking current and future workforces.
All right, my name is Johanna, and I am with the Mitchell Chamber and Development Corporation. And thank you to the council and mayor for letting us present our quarterly report. A couple things I wanted to highlight on the chamber side. I was just doing some math for our 2024-2025 fiscal year, and we grew our chamber membership by 10%. We had 35 new members that fiscal year, so that's amazing. That's based off of the previous renewal members as well. So hopefully getting that to 15-20% for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. The Convention and Visitors Bureau, we are starting our plans for our 2026 marketing. So you saw all of the photo and video assets that were created from the different events. And so those have been really great in our marketing efforts for the next year. We are planning on doing a lot of heavy local promotional efforts. So for those events, the Corn Palace Festival, the Pre-Sturgis Party, the rodeo, all of those events that we got new assets for. All right, any questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Perfect, thank you guys.
Would anyone else in the audience like to address what was on the consent agenda? Okay. Roll call.
Dosher. McCardle.
Aye.
Barrington.
Aye.
Bathke.
Aye.
Charts.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Savers.
Aye.
Goldammer.
Aye.
Sorry, I jumped again.
All right, motion carries. Public comment. If you need to address the mayor and members of the city council on an item that was not on the agenda, excluding personnel items, please come forward to the podium and state your name and your concern. Presentations are limited to 3 minutes. Items will be considered, but no action will be taken at this time. Would anyone like to address the council?
Greetings, City Council, Mayor Hansen. I'm Elizabeth with Mitchell Main Street and Beyond, and this is the season. So we need to say thank you to the Parks and Rec Department for getting Main Street looking very festive. Thank you to them and our small business owners that have decorated downtown. If you haven't been, I recommend a drive when the lights are a little bit dim and you can see all the cheer downtown. With that being said, we have been kicking off a small business month. Usually we just celebrate Small Business Saturday, but we've been doing this Proud to be a small business owner push. Right now we're celebrating the ones that are on Main Street area. And then in December, we'll be celebrating our Beyond members that are a part of Mitchell Main Street Beyond as well. It's going over great. And then we're kicking off 25 Days of Christmas Live. We kicked it off with Coborn's last week. If you haven't seen it, I recommend go checking it out. It's a pretty cute video. Today was Healing Oasis on Main Street. And this will go all the way through December 22nd. It's just a great way to highlight what's happening in our small shops this season. Parade of Lights is already December 2nd. We are sitting really good on applications, but we are still accepting them. It will be December 2nd at 7 p.m. and Christmas at the Corn Palace is 4:30 to 6:30. And there will be Santa, goodies, and all kinds of fun there. I recommend coming it out. And then December 6th is Christmas shopping for kids at the Masonic Hall. That's going to go from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Children under the age of 12 are welcome to come. We'll have Santa helpers from our local scouts helping us, vendors. We have lots of volunteers helping gift wrapping. If you have a passion for wrapping presents, this is your calling. The wrappers probably wrap over thousands of presents. It is insane how chaotic it is that day with so many children shopping, but it's a safe environment. All the items on the tables are $15 and under to help families this season. And then Wrap It Up weekend is the weekend before Christmas. If you're looking for that last minute gift idea, come shop our Main Street and our other small business owners of Mitchell. And then I know I have a lot of events, a lot of planning. January is already the Burger Showdown, our second annual Burger Showdown for Mitchell. If you have a burger and you want to get into the running to see who wins, give me a call and we'll call us at Mitchell Main Street Beyond 605-990-4500 and I'll help you get your entry in. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council? Alrighty, moving on. Board of Adjustment, entertain a motion for the City Council to recess and sit as a Board of Adjustment.
So moved.
Mr. Goldhammer, second by Mr. Bathke. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing an action for the application for Habitat for Humanity variance permit. Habitat for Humanity has applied for a variance permit for an east side yard setback of 0 feet versus 0 feet versus 3 feet as shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigas.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Planning Commission recommended approval of this unanimously. Signs posted, published in neighbors notified. There was one response in favor for this. Applicant is looking to build across the property line that's out there for a twin home, so it's got a shared wall for that location. It will have to be the fire rated wall that will go there. I can answer any questions that you have for this.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. Bathke. Further discussion?
I just want to make a comment again. Here we are again. The foundation's already in. They're asking for forgiveness. It's a great project, but I just think we really need to have Mark have on his application, will this require a variance of any sort? Or they survey the property and it just eliminates it. We wouldn't even have this discussion because it would be on there.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone in the audience? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to set the date for the Board of Adjustment hearing 12/1/25.
Move to set the date.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Reconvene in City Council. Entertain a motion for the Board of Adjustment to adjourn and the City Council to reconvene in regular session.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. Barrington. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Hearing and action on the following alcohol license applications. Transfer of RB 30207 retail on-off sale malt beverage and South Dakota farm wine license from Palace City Brewing Company, 227 West Railroad Avenue to Palace City Brewing Company, 227 West Railroad Avenue due to configuration of the boundary lines. Chief Kniffling.
Mayor, the City Council, PD has reviewed this, has no concerns, recommend approval.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Mr. Goldhammer, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Transfer of RW 30208 retail on-off sale wine and cider license for Palace City Brewing Company, 227 West Railroad Avenue to Palace City Brewing Company, 227 West Railroad Avenue due to configuration of the boundary lines.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion and second here. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve application for renewal 2026 liquor and wine licenses. Chief Kniffling.
Planning Police Department's reviewed all these applications. We have no concerns. Recommend approval.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer,
Second.
second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Rose Engineering 2025 Bridge Inspection Update. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council, the yearly bridge inspections were completed by Bros Engineering for 2025. 4 locations were inspected, which included the Canal Bridge, Sanborn Bridge, triple box culverts south of the Sanborn Bridge, and the Foster Street Bridge south of Hitchcock Park. Mr. Eric Prunty with Bros Engineering, a professional engineer, is with us tonight to give us an update.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Rose Engineering has completed the 2025 bridge inspections for the city of Mitchell. The first one I guess we're going to talk about is our structure 18-129-060. That's the Canal Bridge on the west side of Lake Mitchell. This structure is the one that's in the toughest shape for you. It's got some the north abutment cap is made out of timber and it's starting to rot, crack. It's in pretty tough shape. We've been watching this one for a while, and it doesn't appear to have gotten any worse since 2024, so that's a good thing. With that, the load postings of 50% of legal loads, which means a single unit of 12 ton and a combination of 20 tons is what we're recommending. This bridge, we did complete a preliminary engineering grant through the South Dakota DOT, and it's kind of in the process of when it's time to get replaced, or preferably to get a grant to replace it. Applications are coming due here by the first of the year. I've had some discussions with Joe on it, and we'll be presenting an application at an upcoming council meeting if you'd like to pursue applying to get replacement grant funds for it. So,
I have a question for you.
yes.
The picture of the beam that's all rotted out
Yep.
is pretty impressive. Is it a thing where you can just replace a beam like that? Do you have to replace the whole bridge, or is it a thing? Are you saying like this is obviously there's wear, but that's dramatic. So can you just replace that beam, or would that?
It'll be
create
quite
problems?
challenging because that's what's holding up the bridge. So you kind of have to pick the precast units that are the deck units. You'd have to pick them up to get that out of there and put a replacement in there. So,
Yeah, I didn't know that. So that was why I asked.
it would be challenging, and usually when it's challenging, it adds cost. So,
And when we first looked at this bridge and we knew it was failing issues, I shouldn't say failing, deterioration, we reviewed that, and based off of the cost of maintenance and the lifespan of it versus the cost of a new bridge with the lifespan, we decided to move forward with a new bridge.
And these grants you're talking about, is that one of the big grants that this might qualify for?
Correct. 80-20 split, 80 being state, 20 being city.
That'd be fabulous.
the replacement structure that we're looking at for this, it's going to have about a price tag of $3 million, or that's what we're going to put on the grant application. So it's real, but all costs. So that was the doom and gloom, I guess, out of the bridge inspections. The rest of them, we also inspected the Sanborn Boulevard Bridge. That's structure 18-149-095. We had noted some spalling of the bridge deck. Basically small pop outs of the concrete.
So what causes that? I'm looking at the picture of the spalling
Yep.
or the spall. Can you so how does that happen?
The reinforcing steel that's in the concrete there must have started to corrode. When it corrodes, it expands and it'll pop that concrete. So that's kind of what happened there. City crews hired a contractor to fix those since this inspection was done. So those have been addressed already. The next one is structure 18149-096. That's a triple barrel 9-foot by 12-foot cast in place concrete box culvert. It's just to the south of the Sanborn Bridge that goes over the railroad tracks there. Again, notice some spalling of some areas with some exposed re-steel there, corroding re-steel. And again, talked with city staff and they'll go about patching to nothing too major. It may look kind of severe, but it shouldn't be too bad to patch and get that back up to snuff. And then the last one we reviewed this year was the Foster Street Bridge over the railroad in Dry Run Creek. Really nothing to note of since the last inspection or since the project was done in 2022. We did a preservation job there where new approach slabs and epoxy deck seal and those type of items are done. So it's in real good shape. So. With that, any other questions?
Any other questions?
And I'll give Joe the full report if you want to see all the full reports that they have listed here. So. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, action to approve streetlight request for South Lake Estates Phase 1 development. Mr. Schrader.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council. The City of Mitchell has received a request for 5 streetlights within the South Lake Estates Phase 1 development by the developer. Northwestern Energy recommends 1 streetlight per city block and installed at intersections whenever possible. Streetlights are installed free of charge to the City of Mitchell if a wood pole is installed, which this will be wood poles. A fee of $18.47 a month will be charged per light to the city. And city staff does recommend approval of the street lighting request. Can answer any questions you may have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Sabers. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement. Action to approve amendment number 1 for agreement A 2125-46 report revenue producing hangar with the state of South Dakota 71880. Mr. Schrader.
Yep, Mr. Mayor, Council. This is just a formality from our previously approved grant. They switched it from a single year to a multi-year project, which increased the state's participation from 6,834 to 7,875. The breakout of that with the city and state share is shown in the staff report, and staff does recommend approval.
Thank you.
Move to approve.
Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve agreement A 2025-69 and proposal for geotechnical explorations and percolation tests at the new water building on South Dakota Highway number 37 project 2025-45 with Geotech Engineering. Mr. Schrader.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Council. Geotechnical services were requested from Geotech Engineering and Testing Services, Inc. and American Engineering Testing for soil borings and recommendations for the new water distribution facility on the ground storage tank and pumping facility site. Work will include borings, percolation test, and penetration sampling to provide recommendations for the building foundation, site preparation, and waste management recommendations. Geotech Engineering was the low bid at $5,200, and staff does recommend approval. I can answer any questions you have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Smith.
Second.
Second by Mrs. Sharks. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve Resolution R 2025-78, a resolution approving the 2026 compensation plan for the City of Mitchell. Ms. Owen.
Mayor and council, included in the packet is a annual compensation resolution for fiscal year 2026. That enclosed resolution sets the wages, the positions, and the number of employees for full and part-time employees for fiscal year 2026. The compensation plan includes a 3% increase to the elected wages, a 3% increase to full-time wage ranges, and an adjustment to the part-time wage ranges based on an increase to the South Dakota minimum wage. Any wages that are listed that are for union eligible positions were already approved through negotiations and the council's approval of the 3 labor contracts for City of Mitchell employees. This is included in the 2026 budget, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion?
One item, Stephanie, you might want to point out that our compensation package is very competitive with other cities our size, correct?
Sure. So we recently did a compensation plan comparison. I want to say that was 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago. Annually, we look at the increases to the ranges compared to other first-class municipalities to see what adjustments need to be made. But yes, it is. Our goal is always to stay at the average or slightly above to 1% above what the average is, which is the middle of the comparison wages.
Thank you. Further discussion? Anyone else? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve Resolution R 2025-79 with the plots shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigas.
Mr. Mayor, Council Planning Commission recommended approval of this unanimously. They are doing some estate planning out at this area, so that's why they are vacating some existing lots and replatting. There is an easement that goes from Lot 1 to Lot 3. This is outside city limits, but within the ETJ, so it's a city's zoning jurisdiction still. The county has heard this and approved the plat as well already. I can answer any questions that you have.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. Bathke. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve Resolution R 2025-80, plat of the Veterans Memorial Park as shown on the agenda. Mr. Jenigas.
Mr. Mayor, Council Planning Commission recommended approval of this unanimously with one abstention. This is outside city limits technically, so county has heard this as well, but it is city zoning jurisdiction. The reason for platting this is so that way a restroom can be built onto this tract and then it'll get deeded over to the city after that. There are utility easements on there for the parent parcel, so that way they can get to the proposed restroom. They did approve this at Planning Commission with an updated plat because this one doesn't have a road authority signature line on it. I do have an updated Mylar that does have a road authority signature on that because it's out in the county. I can answer any questions that you have.
So I'm surprised to hear that it's like, is it just like an outline plat that has never been
It's just
annexed
never
in?
been annexed in, correct.
And I mean, is there any reason why we would address that? Or do you think it's just fine being that it's still this little tiny spot that's in the county? Does that cause any problems ever at all?
So the city of Mitchell does not own that parcel. We've never done forced annexation, so it'd have to be a request to be
They would
annexed
need to
by
do
that
that.
property owner. Yep.
Okay. Okay. I just thought that was so interesting.
Just that track one would be up. There's a couple different spots around Mitchell that have that.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. McCardle. Second by Mr. Bathke. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve Resolution R 2021-81, creating tax increment district number 45 and approving the project plan. Mr. Johnson.
All right. This tax increment district would relate to the JTZ and the Legacy Shores proposed wedding venue.
Looking for my numbers here. The project plan that you see before you was presented at council last week. Just one note that I wanted to make from that is that the name of the developer did change. At that time, it was listed as Legacy Shores LLC. Well, that is just the doing business as name. So the Legacy Shores LLC name was taken out of there and it was put under the JTC Properties LLC name, which is kind of the governing LLC that the doing business as name was registered to. So small, but I wanted to draw that to your attention since it was a change in the project plan since Planning Commission saw it. As stated, this is for the proposed event venue on the north side of Lake Mitchell. It would be next to and adjacent to the Peaceful Pines development that was discussed in the past. Hard to keep track of all these names. This event venue is expected to create 5+ jobs to the community, would be approximately 8,620 square foot of usable event space, and is anticipated to support other local businesses that would be connected to the hosting of events in the venue. On the next page, you can see a proposed layout of the facility and a few pictures. Stephanie, I think you're ahead of me. So you can see on this page at the bottom the amount that the developer is requesting is $937,464. The developer does state that the project would not proceed but for the use of TIF. Moving through, you can see a map of the property and the proposed legal description. The first would be the lot itself there. The second bullet point would be the city property adjacent to that, which would be North Harmon, the road, but it's not a dedicated right away there. It's actually privately held city property, so we've got to include it that way. The following page has the list of active tax increment districts in Mitchell. You look at this number for the total, and state law does require that the total amount there be less than 10% of the total valuation in Mitchell, currently at around that 2% mark. On the following page, you'll also see a table of the proposed costs in the district with the grant to the developer at that $937,464, city administrative costs at $250,000, and the total of $1,187,464. As far as the terms of the tax increment district, as we've seen in the past, this would be a 20 calendar year tax increment district, no interest associated with it. The district would expire at the end of the 20 years or whenever the total amount is paid, whichever occurs sooner. In here, we also have that it will be terminated if it is not classified as economic development. We did receive preliminary approval from the state that it would be classified as economic development. The developer is also waiving the right to use the discretionary tax formula. Developers also required to certify costs to the city on a form that we provide annually. We do reserve a right to charge an administrative fee, and again, waiving of the discretionary formula. Again, these are standard terms that we've had in most of our TIFs over the past few years. We do discuss a little bit the $250,000 fee or administrative expenses that would be paid to the city. Those would be applied to the city after the developer's grants are paid out. So moving through the plan again, you can see that the total project costs for the project come in at a little over $3 million, and you can see the breakdown between eligible project costs and non-eligible project costs on the following table. So there's about $2 million in non-project cost or non-eligible project costs that the developer will be paying, in addition to the eligible expenses up front. Continue to move through the plan. You can see the developers provided tax increment generation table showing that it's projected to make around $943,980.30, which would cover their expenses. We're not sure if it will end up covering our administrative costs, but these are conservative projections, so it's possible that it could end up paying more than projected. Continuing through, I think we've hit on these points already. So we'll move down. Go through the levy, and then we get down into the maps. Again, the site map, and then proposed map of the event venue layout, and then finally the zoning map on there showing you the location and the zoning. This would be in a planned unit development. There's no requirement or no changes to the zoning code necessary for it. And then the final page is the preliminary classification letter from the state stating that it would be classified as economic development. And I think with that, we can open it up to any questions.
I do have one correction. On number 2 of the resolution, if council moves forward, you would want to change that TIF number to be 45.
Yeah.
So we can make that correction before it's finalized. It says it correctly on G, just on 2. Right? That's the only one. Yep.
I just have a couple of questions. Could you come up, Justin, just so you can answer a couple of questions that I have? So on the map, can you just tell me, is the event center going to be to the south of the Peaceful Pines, kind of? Is it down to the south, or?
No, that's where the gas station goes.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out where it is.
It goes to the northwest.
The northwest. Okay. So I just have had 2 questions, and I just want to give you the opportunity to kind of address those, the people that have asked me. The first one is, and I think I'm sure you've heard it, but what do you do about the elderly people who are living at Peaceful Pines and you have an event center, and is this a good place in terms of noise level? So I'm giving you a couple of questions for you to address.
So we do have like almost 5 acres there, and so does the senior living.
So
we each have 5 acres, close to 5 acres, just under 5 acres. So there's a lot of space, and you can see the pond.
Is the pond between Peaceful Pines?
The pond is between.
Okay, that helps me. Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I see a lot of. Hopefully, we have like a lot of 100-year-old birthdays there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's what I see.
That's what I keep telling them, that because I remember you saying that. I'm like, this is for the 100-year-old birthday party.
So yeah, we're quick to call it an event center, not necessarily a wedding venue. So it's.
But regardless, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I'm assuming that there will be a noise permit if they were going to be having a band outside or something like that, and there would be a time that they would have to.
Yeah, we're in the city limits, so it's the same. I assume it's the same rules as any bar in town or any event, conference center in town.
Okay. The second question that I have been asked, and I just promised these people that I would make sure that the questions are asked. So are you concerned at all about traffic? For that 100-year-old birthday party? Or whatever.
Well,
or a wedding venue.
I don't know how many spots. I think we got over 100 parking spots there. So, we're building it by code, I guess. So.
Right. I think their concern was on North Harmon. Will there be a lot of, an increased flow of traffic, and will we be able to accommodate
I sure hope so.
Mm-hmm.
I sure hope so. Yeah. We want to grow this town. We want people here.
Yep.
I drive around the lake on the weekend now, and it's a ghost town. You know, there's nobody in town. Everyone's gone. So if we
I
get
remember,
increased,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
if we get increased traffic, I think that's what we want is town.
And I remember that was one of the concerns when we gave the venue out to the west, whatever they call themselves now, Austin's.
Oh, yeah.
And that we had neighbors come in and they were very, very concerned. And I have not heard one word. I don't know if you have either. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I mean,
I just promised to ask the questions, so
Yeah.
this is me representing people who.
Yeah, I mean,
this
it's,
discussion.
I drive by there now and, you know, most of your pictures, your wedding pictures and your baby pictures, everything's across the street on the city property. I mean, it's going to be just a perfect setup. And I hope there's more traffic. I mean, obviously we don't want traffic jams, but we want people to enjoy our lake and hopefully we get a clean lake soon and all the money that the city's spending, we can, you know, use the lake and enjoy it. So, any other questions?
Anyone else have questions for Mr. Teasy?
I think it's a great addition to Mitchell, and I'll move to approve.
Thank you.
Motion by Mr. Sabers, second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this?
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Steve Simpson. I reviewed Resolution R 2025-81 for this proposed District 45. And from point 3A, it states, quote, pursuant to South Dakota Codified Law 11-9-8, not less than 25% by area of the real property within the district is a blighted area, or not less than 50% by area of the real property within the district will stimulate and develop the general economic welfare and prosperity of the state through the promotion and advancement of industrial, commercial, manufacturing, agriculture, and natural resources. If you go to page 3 of the project plan, it states, quote, the primary objective of TIF 45 is to create an event venue development located within the city of Mitchell that promotes economic, social, cultural value to the community of Mitchell. If you go to page 5, it states, quote, the event venue is projected to draw from neighboring communities and cities, including but not limited to Sioux Falls, Madison, Yankton, Brookings, and Chamberlain, which are all within a 100-mile radius of the community. So since this plan is to benefit only Mitchell by taking economic activity away from other South Dakota businesses, this proposed plan does not meet the requirements of state statute that states that it should stimulate and develop the general economic welfare and prosperity of the state. And it should not be classified as an economic development TIF, as it does not provide new growth for South Dakota. Economic losers could be the developer for TIF 8, Highland, local churches, and many other providers in the so-called high-demand market. Next issue, page 4, is the but-for statement. And it says, but for the use of tax increment financing in the amount of $937,464 to the developer, the proposed event venue would not be financially feasible and therefore would not proceed within the city. If you go to page 11, there's a feasibility study statement. An official feasibility study has not been completed by a third party. PTC Properties LLC has conducted internal studies regarding the cost of the event venue project. These costs include but are not limited to land, construction, licensing, staffing, etc. So the but-for statement needs to be tested by an official study before the city should move forward with this public-private partnership. Or the South Dakota Codified Law 934-19 that is scheduled for executive session after this meeting prevent that. We already know the developer admits that this is a high demand market, meaning that the project should be profitable. This TIF would give him a competitive advantage over existing South Dakota businesses in that market. I wish the developer the best for this project, and I suspect it would be successful without the TIF. On page 14, the total project cost is estimated to be $3,250,000, with $445,000 for land the developer already owns, thus leaving $2,805,000 to be financed. I find it unreasonable that $1,187,464, or 42% of that $2.8 million, needs to be financed with a TIF. I'll also note the chart says the 772,464 infrastructure estimate is on page 18. I found them on page 15. Again, that 445,000 for the land should be in the base and not the increment. That's what the property should be valued at. Plot 1 in that same property, I found on Realtor.com. It's listed for $649,000, and it's a smaller amount of land than Plot 3. Okay, I'll go to page 9. Estimated costs for the non-project costs and TIF eligible costs may vary from actual costs incurred during construction. The grant to the developer is not controlled by individual line items for TIF eligible expense costs. TIF proceeds may flow through to the developer for certified TIF eligible expenses without respect to a particular line item based on the actual cost incurred for those TIF eligible expenses up to the total authorized developer TIF request amount of $937,464, consistent with administrative cost section of this plan. The City of Mitchell will receive $250,000 as reimbursement for infrastructure expenses related to the project. This reimbursement will occur after the developer has been fully paid for his. On page 12, it states the maximum amount of the tax increment revenue bonds or monetary obligations to be paid through Tax Increment District 45 shall be an amount sufficient to reimburse the city for the payments made for the project costs and pay all tax increment bonds or monetary obligations in an amount not to exceed $1,187,464 principal and interest, or such lesser amount as may be feasible with the estimated revenue generated by the tax increment district. If you go to page 17, the estimated tax revenue for this is only $944,000, far short of the $1,187,464. I find that concerning. Again, the discretionary grant, when combined with language in the agreement that the expenditures are the sole discretion of the developer, opens up the door to have the redirected property tax revenue go to almost anything. This public-private partnership is lacking transparency from the start to the finish, as it gives the developer a huge advantage over other South Dakota businesses that are in the same market. This TIF may be actually a negative for the state of South Dakota, as a large amount of the redirected property tax will be made up with state aid to the Mitchell School District. For that reason, I ask that you vote no on this resolution. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Would anyone else in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Second reading on ordinance O 2025-11, revising Mitchell City Code Section 5-3-4 in regards to nuisance vegetation. Mr. Johnson.
I'll let Dean handle this one.
You should have saw the look of relief on his face when I said your name.
Mayor, Mr. Council, as we discussed at the last meeting, this is just seeking clarification or clarifying what would be classified as volunteer trees growing around various properties and giving us a clearer mechanism of getting them removed. Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Looking for a second. Second by Mrs. Charks. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to adopt ordinance O 2025-11.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Smith. Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, roll call.
Barrington.
Aye.
Bathke.
Aye.
Charks.
I need clarification before I vote.
Clarification of what clarification would you like?
No, this is on the nuisance. This is
on the-
adopting.
okay, sorry.
Yep.
Aye.
This is adopting.
Smith.
Aye.
Sabers.
Aye.
Goldhammer.
Aye.
Dosher. McCardle.
Motion carries. Second reading on ordinance O 2025-15, 2026 annual appropriation ordinance. Ms. Elwine.
Mayor and council, I won't go through the big presentation that I gave you at the last meeting. At this point, the ordinance stands as it was shown at the last meeting. The second reading and adoption will finalize the 2026 budget, and the ordinance reflects changes that were made by the City Council during the budget meetings that were held on September 8th, September 14th, September 22nd, October 6th, and October 20th. Again, it hasn't changed from the first reading. This is the time that if you have any last changes that you need to discuss, they need to be done before you approve the annual budget. And I can answer any questions. I can certainly go through my big presentation I did last time if you'd like me to again.
Yeah, let's do the 45-minute version.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'll move to approve the budget.
Motion by Mr. McCardle,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion?
I have one issue on the budget that I'd like to talk about. That being the amount that was allocated in the budget for the golf course and for the 5-hole improvement. Can you tell me the amount that was approved in the budget, Stephanie? I mean, the total project was 1-some million.
Yeah.
But then they were going to reuse some money out of something to help pay that down. And so what is the final amount that is in the budget for that project? And is it strictly for the 5 additional holes?
Correct. So sorry, my microphone's not on. If you look at the golf fund budget changes, sorry, I'm gonna have to make this bigger. I can't see very well. So the city is contributing $417,000 towards the project. They're using $300,000 of cash applied, and then they have $250,000 for a donation of funds. The total project cost is $1,053,000, and that is for just the improvement project, nothing else in the budget. That's just for the golf course improvement.
Okay. Well, I have a problem with assigning that amount of money to the golf course board or to that division. 10% of the population plays golf nationally. And I would assume it's that here also, if that's that high, because of our shorter season. And you take that 10% of the population that plays golf and divide it between 2 courses, we're spending a lot of money to help a very few amount of people, very small part of the population. And, another thing that was discussed, the reason they wanted it to help alleviate the crowded condition on the course. Well, if it's that crowded, if they're that busy, they should be very profitable. And they should be able to pay their own way instead of asking for that kind of money. So anyway, I'm opposed to that line item for those reasons.
Okay, thank you.
Can I get clarification on the terms and conditions that seems to be added under number 22?
I will clarify that for you. So in reviewing everything, it's no secret that I've asked for goals and accountability on multiple different occasions in this council. So I was thinking, after hearing Mr. Music's large donation and his ideas for getting people to town, that really spurred my creative thoughts on what we could do to help piggyback on such a monumental contribution. So therefore, we do write a very large check every year to one certain organization whose job is just that. And since we're the ones that sign the checks, specifically me who writes my name on every check, I'd like some sort of accountability, and I really like setting goals. One of my goals is to grow Mitchell, which I think most of you have said that in the same room, and I think if everyone has a good goal to work towards, especially since we are the leaders of the community, this is where I would like to start.
Are these goals or conditions? I thought they were kind of like, these are conditions that have to be met, the goals that we hope to attain.
I have proposed this as terms and conditions of...
Conditions, okay.
Yes.
And did you discuss this with them, or
I've been
are
discussing
they
this
real-
for a year.
Pardon?
I've asked about for the last year on
No,
multiple
no, no. Have you
occasions.
discussed it with the MADC, the development court? Have you talked to them and said, are these realistic? Can you do these?
I
And
think
if
many
not,
of them.
why?
I think many of them they've said that it's been stated that it's already done. That's how I based my conclusion off of that.
So the answer is no.
These specific, no.
Jordan, do you? I know in past the mayors have attended board meetings with the MADC. Is that still an ongoing practice? Because I feel like a lot of these things would be things that the board themselves would be finding out about as a part of like their regular meetings. Is that still a truth?
So I went to every one of them for about a year, but they were so repetitive that nothing changed in a year. So I just decided I look at the agenda, and if it hasn't changed from the last one, I just don't go because it doesn't make very much sense. I did attend the last one because there was a large change, so I decided to go to that one. So I go to a lot of meetings, and I have to pick and choose which ones are the most effective for my time. And so I do go to some when they're new. If there's no changes, then it's just an update. Then I don't tend to go to those. And then what was the second part of your question?
That was my question, I guess. And so the board.
Oh, okay, I remember what I was going to say. So the way I look at it is we write the check, they work for us, we should assign direction. That's my personal belief. Maybe you don't agree with it.
Did you talk with some of the council members prior to writing this?
Yes, at this table, I tried to set goals for our community about a year ago. About 6 months ago, I tried to set goals for nonprofits, which wasn't done. And then during the subsidy application, I changed the goals, and then those were disregarded when it came time for subsidy application. So on multiple occasions, yes, I have.
Okay, because I wasn't involved with any discussion, but I just was curious if you had discussed with council members your ideas.
I thought maybe we'd talk about it Wednesday, but I didn't hear anything about it until I read it
Yeah, so
Saturday morning in Stephanie's update, which kind of shocked me.
yeah, well, this wasn't really, we hadn't really decided on exactly what was going to happen until Thursday, so. Mike, why don't you come up here and talk about if you think these goals are attainable, and if not, which ones you would be willing to put on paper?
Mr. Mayor, council members, to address Mr. Dosher's question, no, we were not aware of these. I discovered them this morning. That's when we saw them for the first time. The thing I would state is, we set our goals, and we're Community of the Year because of the things we've been accomplishing. Looking at these, they're outside the industry norm for reporting. I'd encourage you guys to let us continue to do the work that we've been doing, the way we've been doing it.
What is your number one goal of things you would check off the list for this year?
You attend our meetings. The first thing we start off is housing, workforce recruitment, business recruitment, retention, expansion visits.
So I recently heard of a new a new phrase called boiling an ocean. It's really hard to boil the entire ocean. It's simple to just get a small cup of water and boil it. So I think those are very broad. Like if I was going to set a goal, like we want to work on housing. How many houses? We want to work on workforce. How much workforce?
We did a housing study. It told us we needed 400 new houses in the next 10 years. We averaged 200. With Mitchell Area Housing and the Development Corporation, we're adding 100 new housing lots to the community. There's a lot of communities across the state that are not doing this. They're fighting to try and figure out housing. We're doing it. That's part of the reason we got the Community of the Year award.
So my question is, are you willing to put any terms and conditions on paper whatsoever? Or do we just give you a check and you do whatever you want?
It's up to the council. We've set our goals. You guys have seen the work we've been doing. We have the Community of the Year award. I go back to that every time. We should be celebrating this. We're working on housing. We're working on business development. We're working on workforce recruitment. Those are the three things we should be focused on.
It's no secret that we're the slowest growing out of the top 10 cities in South Dakota. So how do we fix that?
Housing. You need more housing to recruit more workforce so our businesses can be fully filled. I go back to Trail King. They've told us the story. During the Dugard administration, they moved 50 families into Mitchell. They all left. And
So
they
speaking
all-
from
they all
personal
cited
experience,
housing.
I just bought 2 houses this month because they couldn't be sold for less than 100,000 or 120,000, I should say.
in there, you say we should survey people when they sell their houses or they leave the community. There's a survey. There's 50 families that left this community, and they cited specifically they couldn't find housing.
When was that done?
During the Dugard administration.
Dugard? And how long ago was that? I mean, real estate changes every 3 months.
It does, but we haven't added the housing. That's what the housing study told us. That's why we're working on it. That's why we're focused on it.
The housing study from 2022?
Mike, have you read these at all? Is there any of them that stand out to you like there's no way we can do that? You're asking way too much of us.
A lot of them I feel like you're already doing.
There are a lot we're already doing.
But I think what Mayor Hansen's getting at, we want verification that it's being done, I guess. Accountability is the word. And that's all I wanted when I met with you and Mayor Hansen and Mr. Smith, was just want accountability for the large amount of money we give there. And I would love to know of these, if there's one that stands out, said there's just no way. You're asking too much of us. I'm not staffed for that.
These are outside the industry norms of things that we would sit down.
We don't want to be normal. We want to be the best.
You're just having a person scour the internet to find available properties that are open. That's on a daily basis to update our website. And is that 4 to 6 hours a day that a person's dedicated to go through all the property on a daily basis to see whether or not there's anything new for sale?
So my Zillow tells me if there's been any updates to the market. It's pretty simple.
I guess you kind of answered my question there, Mike. So you're saying that is something you just don't have somebody to dedicate that time to. So what would you, if we went with this, what would you say would be the correct parameters for that to be done? A month? Every month?
I don't know. I don't have an answer for you for that. We've left it up to the developers to submit those and put their property on there. And I would say that's a great system. If you want to sell your property, contact us and go ahead and put it on there.
Is there anything you looked at this and said, yeah, we could do that, no sweat?
I'd go back to, we have the Community of the Year award. We're doing things right.
Ken, you want to come up? You look eager to speak. My cousin.
Mayor, Council, I'm Ken Slungen, General Manager for Central Electric Cooperative. I've been the chair of the Development Corp Board for the last 2 years. I'm now past chair. And I'll tell you that this is concerning to me. That the Development Corp finds out about these new requirements the day of the City Council meeting. The mayor's office is located across the street from the Development Corp office. We have a representative from this council, and we have the mayor at our board meetings when they want to attend. And why is it that right now we're hearing about this? From my experience, Mayor, out of all due respect, you're not being very collaborative with the Development Corp. And I think there's a lot of room for improvement in that area. And I think we're willing to work with the city so that we can both do better at what we're doing. But I don't know the answer to that if we're not both willing to have those conversations. Thank you.
So I'll just say one more time is, as city leaders, I feel like it is up to us to set the direction for the community. That's what we were elected to do. And this is my final push for that.
I want to just one quick question to Councilman Smith. So when you found out about this, you never reached out to him?
I am the one that sent it to him this morning. Mike, I'm sorry I was out of town this
I'm
weekend.
just
Do I need to apologize for that? Okay. So when I read it this morning, sent it to Mike, Mike called me immediately, and I asked Mike, first question, are you aware of this? He said, absolutely not. First time I've seen it. I said, same with me.
Jordan, when I read this, my first thought was there are just some things that that sometimes are just out of your hands. Like you.
That's exactly how I feel.
Okay, so listen to what I'm saying. How many calls have you made to try to recruit businesses since you've been in office to get them to come to Mitchell?
I made so many calls and had Aaron make so many calls that the Development Corporation called and told me to stop.
So you have made so many calls, and how many of those have panned out? How many of those businesses that you've called?
We got a $15 million senior living facility. That's pretty good.
Okay.
Probably the biggest job creator in Mitchell, South Dakota for a long time. I think we have someone in the audience that would come up here and say that without me, that would have never happened.
Okay, so one. Now you're telling us
That's pretty good for a first timer.
Well, my point of the matter is you've called your whole thing when you got into office was, I'm going to bring businesses. I'm going to call and I'm going to get people to come. And you're saying now that the Development Corp needs to independently every year. They have to have 2 businesses that come to town, and they need to show 13 people moving every 3 months. I mean, who has the power to do that? How do you want them to do that? I just think that some of these things that you've put in this are just they're not realistic. They're not achievable. They're not, I think you're setting them up to fail. I feel like this is you saying, let's find a way to make sure that the Development Corp doesn't get money anymore because we're going to set the standard so high that even I can't do it when it was my number one goal, but I'm going to tell them that they need to do it, which I just think that's just not fair, Jordan. It's just not fair.
So I would be willing to give them as much money as we could as long as we were produce results. I give them $1 million a year if they were bringing in $2 million of value. I have no problem with
right, but and I think that I would dare say that every person on that Development Corp would love to bring millions of dollars. That is their objective. Am I wrong about that? Their objective is to do all of these things. The reality of it is that you cannot force results like what you're setting here. You can't. There's not a way for them to say, we're going to make sure that we have 2 new businesses every year. It's not feasible to do that, to have that as a caveat to them receiving any funding. And the minute that we cut them off and say, well, you didn't get 2 new businesses, so we're going to cut you off. The minute we do that, we have cut our legs off. We have just completely crippled ourselves from doing all of the things that they have done that are the very things that have made us the community of the year. So I just feel like this is unfair. I feel like it's okay to say we'd like you to have these as goals, but to make them a condition, I have a real problem with that and I can't support it.
Hey, I want to ask, so how many, I thought you stated, Johanna, during the presentation that you brought 9 new businesses.
We had 9 new chamber members.
New chamber members.
Yeah.
So how many new businesses? Okay.
In the quarter, I don't have that right now. Those are chamber membership information.
I think that these are their goals, but to say that we won't give them money unless they do meet these requirements that they may or may not be able to meet through no fault of their own is wrong, and it really would hamper the city's ability to grow because we need that Development Corp. I mean, say what you want. I was at the Governor's Hunt banquet, and our soybean plant, and Mike Lauritsen was honored, was the guy that they talked to at the Governor's Hunt about what the work was that he did in Mitchell, South Dakota. And we're going to tell him he's not doing enough? I can't agree with that. I can't go with that.
I never said nobody's doing enough. I'm just saying I'd like to have some parameters. I mean, if I'm wrong, and you guys, here's what I'd like to see. You guys say what you think you could do, put it down, do it, and then make me look like an idiot, and then we all succeed. I'm totally fine with that. But to give them, here, I made a list of all the stuff we asked from them right now. I just have a very hard time, and I know we talk about this a lot. I'm not trying to say anything bad. I just feel like,
Justin.
yeah,
Hey, I just got a few words. I know you guys denied the money for the ACP, and why was that? Because they did not do
No.
what they said they were going to do, right?
Because it was a one-time appropriation. From the outset, we told them when they got it, we gave the Carnegie Resource Center, we gave them money for a furnace, and we gave the ACT Theater
So they didn't
money.
follow through.
Well, it doesn't matter if they did or didn't. It was a one-time appropriation. Am I wrong about that? That was a one-time thing.
So, you sell blinds, right? If you hired a salesperson to sell blinds and they didn't sell any blinds, would you give them money? Would you pay them?
I'd probably have them on commission. So
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, but that I don't think
I think
I'm not
anybody
running,
asking for money
No, I don't
should be
think
able to
that's-
follow a few rules. Well, it is, though. It is. All of us have jobs, and we have to produce. They have a large staff over there. I asked for help for the senior living, and I didn't get anything. At the end of the day, they came out and supported it because they felt like they had to. But I got zero help. They don't do cash injections, and we all know that's not true. And we can prove it that they do. We've got 40 plus jobs. We've got 56 houses out there. It's everything that they want. Now they got all these houses. Are they selling? Are they flying off the shelf? Jordan's right. There's hundreds of houses for sale in Mitchell, and there's a lot of people not selling them. There's people that would love to sell their house right now. There's tons of houses. So what's their next excuse? What do we need next? More money? More people? We've given them every tool in the
What's your beef
toolbox.
with the Development Corp? Why are you up here? Or what, am I missing out on something? Why are you?
Because
talking against them?
when I tried to follow the channels with my senior living, they failed me.
In how? I guess I missed.
I asked for help to get sewer, and they had nothing. They gave me nothing. They didn't even try to work with the city to try to give me anything. I had to go to the city and work with you guys.
Justin is the largest developer in Mitchell, South Dakota. Easily.
I've asked for a list of people that want to come to Mitchell. I haven't got that list yet. I haven't got nothing.
He is building business suites, strip malls, everything.
I just built strip mall. There's a new dentist. There's a new salon. There's a new spa. There's a new gym. Across the street, there's going to be another gym. There's going to be another salon. I'm redoing the bank. I got a
I understand all that. I've been following that. I just don't get your beef with the Development Corp. You should be with them. Are you a member?
No, I'm not.
You're
I
not a
was.
member? You're not supporting Development Corp or the Chamber?
No, because they don't support me. That's why I'm up here.
If you're not a member, how can you?
I was on the chamber board. I was a member. I asked for help, and they gave me nothing. They gave me resistance. Our town is the slowest growing town in South Dakota.
Slowest growing in town.
In the top 10. Yes. And in fact, when they talked about SNAP,
So the ones that are going backwards.
we're going backwards.
We are losing population.
And that's why I'm up here. Maybe you guys don't know all the facts. When they were talking about getting rid of SNAP with the government shutdown, our town was going to get affected the worst.
If we're going backwards, why is their sales tax up every year?
Inflation.
Why is Sioux Falls down this year and we're up sales tax? If we're going down, they're getting so big. How
I don't
come
know
sales
that.
tax? I don't either. I'm just asking you. You got all the answers.
I don't have all the answers. I just know that our town is not growing. And when they ask for a bunch of money to grow
Why
our
don't you get
town,
on board
I
and help? I don't get why you're even up here.
I'm spending more money in this town than anyone I know.
Well, that's good for you.
We did meet with the corporation.
Yeah, we met with them. They had nothing for us. I tried to do everything right.
You're up here trashing an organization that's promoting Mitchell. I don't get it.
I want Mitchell to grow more than anyone.
Doesn't sound like it.
Look around. I'm doing all I can. Find someone that's doing more.
Right.
How am I trashing the town if I'm trying to grow it? I want it. you know, all of us have kids that don't live here anymore. I want that to change.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to address something that Councilman Saber said. Your own brother sent it out to us that the town was shrinking, first of all. And second, you should not have to be a member for them to want to help you.
I'm not saying that. I'm saying
You said that. Or you kept asking me if he's a member.
To promote them.
No, you kept asking me if
He
he's a member. You should
promoted.
not have to be a member for them to promote you.
Hi, Trevor Dirks, past president of Development Corp, and my story might be more anecdotal than details, or not about details, but numbers and percentages. But moved to Mitchell in 1976, so I've been here, 50-something years. Preschool, grade school, high school, middle school, Dakota Wesleyan. This town has improved a lot. And when you say growth, you're looking at population only. You're not talking about the growth that we've had in tax base and sales tax receipts, right?
That's right.
So I think there's growth there. And I would look, can you say in the years that I remember all the growth, is there some that happened not because of the Development Corp? Probably. Did a lot happen because of the Development Corporation? I believe so. My key, and what I like most about, I've got two kids. Josie's 26. She lives in Mitchell, works in Mitchell, has a house. Dawson is doing his internship in Madison East River Electric, and he wants to come back to Mitchell. Those are two wins for me. So those are two kids that want to be here, like Mitchell, like what we've got going on. So I just want to tell that story because I think it's important. And so I think the Development Corp does a proper service to the community. And it's very hard to measure. So
I want to tell a story about you real quick, if that's right, because it's a good positive
Tell it.
story to round things off. So when I started my real estate journey, I went to 7 different banks to find a banker that would finance me on a property, and they all said no, it was impossible. So I started calling realtors, and they all said, call Trevor Dirks. And I called him, and I don't know if you remember that, but you financed me on my property. I ended up turning that into a $3 million real estate portfolio. So thank you for that, because I like to have the guys that get stuff done. So I want to give you a thank you.
thank you.
Okay, so I don't know. We got wildly off track in this appropriation ordinance. So my assumption is you guys are going to say no to this, and I'm fine with that.
Well, excuse me, my issue is that you kind of unilaterally decided that these are the conditions without involving anybody else.
That's not a fair statement, because I have on 2 separate occasions brought to the council goals I would like to set, and both times nothing happened. So,
And I don't believe it was brought up. It just came out of the blue on a Thursday and ended up on the agenda the same day. I think this has been in the makes for quite some time, I'm sure, because everything that's on that sheet of paper didn't happen in 10 minutes. I know that for a fact.
Were you involved with helping
Nope.
formulate those
I was with them the night
conditions?
before and didn't hear anything about it.
That's my only concern, is that these came down without.
how much time is it
input.
going to take before we can get these terms and conditions done then? How long will it take for us to sit down and figure out something to get on paper? I know this
Well,
has
we got to
nothing to
do
do.
that. We got to approve the budget tonight, so it's not going to happen tonight. So
I'm fine with that.
Has there been a motion on the budget?
There has, yes, sir.
And so the terms and conditions sheet was added after the first reading. And so is that,
I was just going to try to jump in and clarify that. So at this point, the appropriations ordinance would not include any conditions like you see on that terms and conditions sheet. If you wanted to include those, you would need the motion to make that funding subject to those terms and conditions. At this point, it is not.
that wasn't my motion. My motion is to have it the way it is right now.
Yep, and
Yeah.
that's the way it is.
Correct. And I don't know who seconded it. Was it you, Tim?
And I just want to clarify. I'm not trying to say anything bad about the Development Corporation. I never did any of this stuff. I'm just saying I would like for us to set the direction.
and I don't think that some of the things in here are, like you've already said, some of the things they're already doing. I would encourage you to continue to go to their meetings and work with them on, I mean, you have your list of this is what you want them to be doing. And so if they're not doing these things, bring it to them and say, I noticed, number 4, for example, I'm just throwing out a number. I would like you to focus more on this next month. Can you bring me a result? Right? That, like, when we have on boards that I've sat on in the past, if we are not seeing the results that we want, we bring it to the board and we say, this is what I would like to see, and then
That's what
give
I'm doing.
direction.
This is my board, so that's why I'm doing it. That makes sense to you.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but I'm saying that you could also do it with the actual organization, that the MADC.
And I want to just go on record to say, I don't think there's a person around this table who wouldn't love to see these businesses and these people come here. I think that, we share your passion for growing our community. I don't know that we need to be 20,000 people, but one of the things that I think that we have to remember is that we have a lot of development that sits outside of our city limits. And I would say a lot of new homes, new building happens out. In fact, I have so many people say, why, I wish we could be I wish we were able to vote in city elections. So we know that there are all of those developments that sit outside of the city limits. Beyond that, we draw on all of these communities that are served by our Dakota land, the Corsicas, the Parkstons, the Ethan, all of those that come to town. So we may not see it in 13 people every 3 months, but I feel like the reason that we see an increase in our tax base partially is because of inflation. But I think in addition to that, I think that we have people who are moving to the surrounding areas who contribute to what we are doing in Mitchell. So just because they're not moving into a house that is sitting within that little parameter of our city limits, it doesn't mean that we're not in some ways growing, that we're not able to quantitate and say, well, we have exactly this many people because they're not living in our city limits. But please understand that we're not, now I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not critical of your desires and your passion for growing our community. I think it's admirable. And I think that, there's probably not a person who wouldn't love to see us have 2 new businesses and 13 people every 3 months and all of those things. I think that's great, but it is an unrealistic expectation to put on the Development Corp that I can't even imagine. How long I've served here for 13 years, and I think about what a slow moving ship this is. It just is. It is a slow moving ship. And, if you want to try and turn it, it just takes time. Things take time. Getting a business to move here takes time. And the fact that we have a new soybean plant and we have a beautiful new senior living complex that's going in, I think those are definite wins. No one will argue with that. But I also think that we need to recognize that we're living in the real world where not all of these things are things that you can just wave a magic wand and do things that, it would be naive for us to think that they're not doing the very things that you're asking them to do. And whether or not they get 2 new businesses or 13 people every 3 months is secondary. It's not because they're not attempting and those aren't their shared goals. The goals are there. We just heard what their agenda is every month. So these goals that they're reaching towards are intended to do exactly what you're asking them to do. They really are. And again, I appreciate where this is coming from. But I think it's misguided, and I think it would be something that would, in the long run, it would really be doing a disservice to our community because it would have the potential of really disabling our Development Corp.
And I'm assuming you guys are ready to vote.
Well, one quick thing, Mayor, if I could jump in.
Go ahead.
Quick. Normally Stephanie attends the meetings at Development Corp, and I generally do. And you obviously had passed along the reasonings and some viability. And I think maybe there's an opportunity to work with Mike to maybe revamp and maybe do some things at the meeting. But if nothing else, maybe the 3 of us can meet together on a periodic basis and kind of get our goals where we're wanting them to be, and then see if they're measurable. And even if you can't make it and Stephanie can't make it, maybe one or two or maybe all three of us can go over. But I'll work with Mike on that to try to come up with maybe some ideas with their meeting also. And Mike, I'm just throwing this out, so I'll be calling you. But I think there is an opportunity to try to get to the same end zone and the same goals. Even if we don't approve this one, let's not give up on it, because as Susan just greatly just relayed to us, is we are working for the same goal here, is to make Mitchell the best it can be. And if that means growing the population, great. But if that means bringing in more sales tax that we can then give opportunities for our current residents, then so be it. And I know the Alex are growing and the Ethans are growing, and you're right there too, for a reason, is because we are doing a good job here. But let's maybe just meet periodically, and we can kind of come up with some ideas, and then you and I and Mike and Mike did sit down, and I thought it was a productive meeting. But let's not forgive on that, or give up on that also. So anyway, I appreciate your ambition and trying to get everybody to be challenged, and I think there's several ways to get there. So let's not give up if this thing goes down.
What a positive note. And I just want to, before we vote, I just want to say, listen, I don't like having difficult conversations, which maybe this is one of them. But usually after conversations I don't want to have, something good comes out on the end of those. And I think what you just said is proof of that. So with that, all those in favor of the annual appropriation ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. I thought, no, we're on 22. We have a motion and a second. Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Yeah.
We got to move to adopt.
Second.
Second by Mr. Goldhammer. Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Now it's time for roll call.
Charts.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Sabers.
Aye.
Goldammer.
Aye.
Dosher. McCardle.
Aye.
Barrington.
Aye.
Bathke.
Alrighty. Second reading on ordinance O 2025-16, franchise agreement with Northwestern Energy. Mr. Johnson.
All right. Well, I'm going to keep this one real short and say that it's the same ordinance that you saw at the last meeting. Again, it's just a renewal of the franchise with Northwestern. Some minor changes in there. Probably the largest change is moving it from a 1-year term to a 10-year term. So with that, we can open it to questions.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer. Second by Mr. Barrington. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to adopt ordinance O 2025-16.
Move to adopt.
Motion by Mr. Goldhammer, second by Mr. McCardle. Further discussion? Anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, roll call.
Sabers.
Aye.
Goldhammer.
Aye.
Dosher. McCardle. Barrington.
Aye.
Bathke. Charts.
Aye.
Smith.
Aye.
Motion carries. First reading on ordinance O 2025-17, supplemental appropriations for FY, does that mean fiscal year 2025? Okay.
Whoa. Hold on. There we go. Sorry about that. Mayor and council, included in the packet, the ordinance you see on the board is a supplemental appropriation that would change the budgets for fiscal year 2025. I'm going to talk to just all the credit card fees at once, if that's okay, but you'll see several of them that have adjustments for credit card fees. That used to be a negative budget in revenue, and now we're just moving those over to expenditure budgets. So that is not changing the bottom dollar of the budget at all. It's just moving them from a revenue to an expenditure budget. As far as the other items that you see listed, the first one under City Council, CDBG for the Safe House. That is a grant pass-through, and city has been receiving grant funds for that project, and we've been turning around and passing those forward to the grant recipient. The second one there, the Veterans Park, under the mayor's budget. We do track the maintenance and upkeep of the Veterans Park annually, and then at the end of the year, we undesignate funds that are sitting in reserve for maintenance of that park to offset that cost. Storm drainage, that one was just error. We included that in the budget overview that I did in April. It was shown on all of the sheets. It was just omitted from the ordinance. So this is carrying forward budget funds from 2024 into 25. I didn't catch it till I started doing the end of the year stuff. So that's why it was not on. It just got overlooked on that first ordinance. Moving down into the Park and Rec Fund, Cadwell concessions, you'll see several budget items there. We are not using contingency for these items, and instead I'm doing it as a supplement because we've received cash to offset that cost that we're adding to their budget lines. Both of the bid districts, the hotel bid added a board project for $5,000. That's to pay for their Play Easy subscription that they authorized. And then bid 3 is the Main Street board, and that's just project costs are a little bit higher, and then publication costs were not covered in the budget. Those again come out of the dedicated fund for the business improvement districts. Palace Transit, same thing as credit card funds. I won't talk about that again. Library fines, that is a budget. Fines are collected or fees are collected by the library department, and then the library board of trustees has the ability to authorize expenditures out of that fund, and this will cover the budget for the expenditure of those funds. I believe it's going to be actually closer to 15,000, but because we have to have 2 readings of this and we're almost at the end of the year, we want to make sure we cover those expenses. Again, that's coming out of a dedicated fund for this purpose, so it's not touching general fund. These supplements, if approved in the first and second reading, will not change the structurally balanced budget at all. They're just end of the year transactions we need to do. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
Any questions?
Moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. McCardle, second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? Would anyone in the audience like to discuss this? Okay, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Motion to enter into executive session according to SDCL 9-34-19, trade secrets or commercial and financial information, SDCL 1-25-2, legal, SDCL 1-25, pricing strategies, and the rest shown as the agenda. Motion by Mr. Smith, second by Mr. Goldhammer. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. There will be no action after executive session.